I didn't think it was raining, and then I came out here and it's raining. I'm gonna put my AirPods in the mailbox, and I'm saying it so I don't forget them, because that's a thing that can happen. But today we are gonna compare the Brooks Glycerin Max. Gotta make sure we get the right lighting on this puppy. That's a little bit better. Look at this. This colorway just pops. Brooks Glycerin Max. It has that clean New Balance 990 aesthetic almost, where it's all neutral, and then you just get some slight pops, slight details here, like the big black Brooks logo and the yellow midsole. People keep saying this is the Is It Cake shoe, which is kind of funny. But comparing this shoe to the GlideRide Max from Asics. Now, I actually have run in this shoe before. This was out in the mountains when we were out in Brevard. We do that every year for my birthday. We were there a few weeks ago, and I put it back in the running warehouse box because we were in the Jeep and had to drive back from the cabin we were staying. And I didn't want it to get messed up because I'm a real sicko and I like to take care of my shoes. I always say, if you take care of your shoes, if you clean them off after every run, anytime they get a little bit of mud or specks of dirt on them, they'll take care of you back. If you put them in a nice box so they don't get all smushed up, so they don't get any Cheerios on them, because your toddler and 5-year-old and baby are in the back seat eating Cheerios in your Jeep, they're gonna stay in better shape and they'll take care of you. The reason also I put this back in the box is because I was thinking I might save it until after Chicago so that I could have a nice comfortable shoe that's fun, that I would look forward to. But I've been running so much in the Glycerin Max, and I haven't talked about this at all since I got it, and I was feeling like this would be a good comparison to do, because I've been absolutely loving this shoe and it's getting a lot of hype right now, and I'm not seeing the GlideRide Max get really much of any hype anywhere, which is a little bit weird because it's Asics and Asics always gets hype. But Supwell app, not very many reviews. I mean, I've seen looked in some of the other forums, there's not very many reviews of it, so I thought I would take it out and see if it can stack up to some of these other Max Cushion shoes. So first run I did in it out of the box, again, out in Brevard. You can search GlideRide Max first run review on my channel and see it, but it was about I think it was a 10-mile run. I averaged probably around 720, 730, 740, somewhere in that. And most of that I was clipping off around 740, 750s. I picked it up at the end down to some 640, 650s. And I remember it felt good. But the main thing I remember about this shoe versus a lot of these other Max Stack shoes is it didn't feel as tall and wild. So on paper, you are getting 44 millimeters of stack in the GlideRide Max, but if you just look at it versus the Glycerin Max, you can see visually the volume of foam in the Glycerin Max is so much more. And from this back view here, and then if you take a look at this from the side versus the GlideRide Max from the side, it's a tall shoe, don't get me wrong. It just does not have that same visual effect. It's like comparing a Yukon XL to a Chevy Traverse. That's kind of how it feels. I guess these are two different brands. So this would have to be the Lincoln Nautilus, and this is the GMC Yukon XL. So this doesn't feel as crazy. This almost feels like an elevated daily, at least in my first run impression of the shoe. It was very soft, and it does have, so other difference here, this is completely non-plated. They do have two different types of foams in the Glycerin Max. So they're calling the midsole DNA tuned, but what that means is they tune the foam. So they're saying the back is tuned a little bit firmer and the back is tuned a little bit softer and the front is tuned a little bit firmer, or more responsive in their words. So you get more of that bouncy toe off from the front, more of that soft squish in the back. And this is, I gotta say, I have 60 miles in it now, probably the most comfortable shoe of the year. I think it's now leapfrogged all the New Balance shoes in terms of that on-foot comfort. Charlie runs a lot in the 1080. She walks a lot in the More V5. Those are her favorite shoes right now. I really want to get her a pair of this to compare. I've run a lot in the 1080. I did a 100-mile week in it, and I ran a lot in the last version of the 1080. They did 300 miles in that, and I've walked a decent bit in the More V5. This feels like all the best elements of those combined, but it is a touch, I don't want to say firmer, but it has more structure to it, and it still has that amazing soft step and feel, but with more bounce and a nice rocker, a nice smooth ride. That's what I was getting out of the GlideRide Max too. It does have that nice smooth ride, and it does have that bounce. However, there is a plate in here. Now, there's some debate over the plate. Let me just say this. It's a plastic stiffening agent. It is technically ethylene vinyl acetate, the plate, EVA. It's not a carbon plate. It's a plastic plate. But what you can do with compounds, like an ethylene vinyl acetate or a polyether block amide, you can either make them firmer, more rigid, like a plastic plate, or you can make them softer, like a foam. You can also tune them, like Brooks has done here. This is the same polymer that they've tuned in 2 different ways, firmer in the front, softer in the back. That's the same thing you could do with a foam like EVA or with a polymer like EVA. You could tune it to be like this green foam down here, which is softer, or you could tune it to be like this stiff plastic plate. Now, if you see me trying to bend this shoe in the back here, it's not gonna bend. It's a 3/4 plate. Yes, it's EVA, it's not carbon, but it is a stiffening agent in the shoe. And that's why you can also see I bend the front here, because the plate ends 3/4 of the way up the shoe. Now, I am not a big proponent of choosing shoes based on whether or not they have a plate. I just don't care. I choose based on the ride experience. I advocate for shoes based on the ride experience. There's no research that says it's better or worse to run in shoes with a plate. So my general philosophy is to mix up the different kinds of shoes we're running in: plated, non-plated, high stack, low stack, soft foam, firm foam. That's what's gonna round us out as a runner. Also, doing different types of runs throughout the week, running on hills, all those things can help injury prevention. So my memory of the GlideRide Max though is a little bit softer in the forefoot. Yes, it has the 3/4 length plate. This is a little bit bouncier, way more supportive. Felt like definitely not gonna bottom out in this shoe. And that was my one question with the GlideRide Max, which hopefully we can answer today. How is this thing gonna stack up to a shoe like the Glycerin Max, which, because it has so much of that foam in the forefoot, feels really cushioned. So I'm excited to do this head to head today. I'm first gonna take out the GlideRide Max for some miles, and then we can do a little comparison between these two for the ride experience. Oh, last thing I should say about this guy, Top Foam FF Blast Max. I'm actually not sure what kind of a compound this is, but this is a new foam from Asics. This white foam here, pretty cool looking. I don't know why I said that. It looks normal, but pretty cool that they debuted a new foam in the shoe. I'm not sure if they've used it in any other shoes and are just calling it a new foam. That's also really possible, but regardless, new foam here, FF Blast Max, and it's also raining. One of the issues that we've had with these Asics training shoes, at least in the last generation, so the Nova Blast, I think the Super Blast was better, but the current Nova Blast 4, the Nimbus, is the grip was horrible. So this has 2 different types of grip here. Let me see, where does it say it? Yeah, hybrid Asics grip. You can see it says right there. And then AHAR, Asics High Abrasion Rubber. So 2 different types of grip. We'll have to see today how it does, because the rain is starting to come down a little bit more. That means this might get a little bit dirty. But this colorway is not swag. Yeah, if we have to do a swag versus swag, Glycerin Max definitely takes it. Look, I mean, look at that. Is that even a question? Way cleaner. It's cleaner and cooler looking at the same time. This is not doing it for me. I actually liked the way that the Nimbus looked. Nimbus 25, which I put a lot of miles in. This takes the Nimbus 25 design language and just muddies it up a little bit. Whereas this takes all the Brooks Ghost and Glycerin design language and cleans it up. That's the key difference. So for swag, I'm going Glycerin Max. Grip, I also think Glycerin Max is gonna take it. And look at that, you got a thick layer. Can you see how thick that rubber is? Yeah, you got a thick layer of rubber in the Glycerin Max. Oh, price, by the way, $200 in the Glycerin Max. GlideRide Max, I believe, is $170. And yeah, they're not exactly in the same category, but they're both comfort-oriented, high-stack, everyday running shoes that are designed to give a little bit more of a fun experience. So both max stack bouncy shoes. That's why we're gonna compare them. Similar price point, $170 versus $200. I keep saying last thing. I've used this is actually the last thing. This is a very versatile shoe. I've used it for a lot of family runs recently. So we're doing these family runs where I'll push the double stroller, Mason will bike, Charlie will be jogging along with me, about 10-minute per mile pace. And this is great at that. And then I've also done some runs where I'm cruising by myself, solo, 10 milers or 12 milers, getting down to 6 something pace. And it's great for that. So very versatile shoe, very comfortable. We'll have to see if this bad boy can stack up. Let's do it. Actual last thing, if you enjoy these types of shoe comparisons, are a running shoe enthusiast, or you're looking for a new running shoe, check out the Supwell app. We have a lot of community sourced reviews, and that's what I was saying. I have not seen any GlideRide Max reviews yet on the Supwell app, which is a little bit weird. I have seen 1 or 2 Glycerin Max reviews, but it's $1 a month. We have a community space. That paywall is really just to ensure that there's a tiny bit of a barrier to entry, so everyone who joins is excited to do that and is going to contribute in a positive way. We also do have a used shoe marketplace for gently used running shoes where you can buy, sell, and trade all the swag, and we have a place to talk training. So if you're looking to get more from your running, if you're looking to talk shoes or find shoes, check out the Supwell app. Let's get some miles. Let's get some miles in the GlideRide Max. It feels like it's raining and it looks like it's raining, but it's not actually raining that hard. So we'll have to see. Oh, the Clown 2024 sign is back. The Robinson sign didn't make it back though. I don't think the Robinson sign's coming back after that one. Talk about clown behavior. We're not gonna forget the AirPods. I almost dropped them though. Me 1, forgetfulness 0. And so the rainy season is really starting to pick up. Sorry, there's some sort of an insect wing. But yeah, rainy season's really starting to pick up in this part of the country. Let me know if you'd like to see a best wet weather running shoes sort of roundup. I've got to do some more testing on some of the new models. I also want to get I've been thinking about getting the Pegasus Trail 5 Gore-Tex in, because I know that shoe, the Pegasus Trail, that's one that a lot of people like for winter running. Even though it's not a road running shoe, it's a hybrid road trail running shoe. A lot of folks like that. So yeah, let me know. Lacing up the GlideRide Max here. So yesterday I did 20 miles in the Alpha Fly. That was my actual last 20-mile long run of this block. And I did 12 miles of that at a pretty good clip. So 6 at threshold pace, broken up into 3 sets of 2. And then the last 6 miles at marathon pace. So decent workout. That's really what inspired me to take the GlideRide Max out of the box, because I wanted something comfortable and fun after a tough workout. And I want to compare how these do for a run like this versus the Glycerin Max. So lacing it up, I think Glycerin Max probably takes it for step-in comfort. This feels a little bit more streamlined, definitely narrower than the Glycerin Max. The Glycerin Max has a wider toe box, overall a more forgiving fit, so higher volume. The GlideRide Max feels a little bit more snug. Almost not race fit, but it does almost have a little bit more of a performance fit, whereas the Glycerin Max has more of a comfort fit. So everything about the Glycerin Max is comfort amped up to the max. As I'm lacing up the GlideRide here, it feels more like a daily trainer. It feels a little bit more like a shoe that you lace up and maybe potentially you could go and run fast in. Neither of these shoes are fast workout shoes, but just in terms of the upper, the materials are actually really similar that they've used on the upper. Again, the Brooks just feels a little bit nicer, just a tiny bit, but I think it might be the $200. Also, the lacing up experience of the Glycerin Max, a little bit nicer than the GlideRide Max. I had to work these laces a tiny bit, but overall, just stepping in here, it is a comfortable shoe. When you step into a shoe like the GlideRide or the Glycerin Max, or even something like the Nimbus from Asics, you feel that soft, squishy sink in. You feel like you're in a comfort-oriented product. Right now, I don't feel that with the GlideRide Max. It feels a little bit more normal. And the key thing that's going to characterize this ride experience is the rocker, and I can feel that. But on stepping, it doesn't feel like anything special. It just feels like a running shoe, a touch more of a normal product on foot than something like the Glycerin Max. So keep that in mind. If you don't like super max stack shoes, something like the Glycerin Max, or sorry, man, these shoes are so GlideRide Max, Glycerin Max. If you don't like the super max stack shoes, this one right here, the Asics, the GlideRide Max, this might be a little bit better for you. Right now, it feels a little bit more normal. I can even have a tiny bit of ground feel in the forefoot here. So yes, it's max stack, but it's not as max, super max stack feeling as a lot of the other shoes. So that's a lot of words. Let's go get some miles in. Man, it's coming down kind of good now. So I've talked about this before, but one of the ways that I think about comfort is the absence of anything bothersome. So a shoe like the Glycerin Max, that's gonna give you a comfortable ride by stuffing the midsole with foam, giving you a ton of bounce, making you feel all the tech that's in the shoe. This shoe gets out of the way a little bit more, even though you have the dual foam in the plate. It doesn't feel like there's as much going on. There's a tiny bit more ground feel, and holy cow, look at that, man. That was from the hurricane. That stinks. That's my third time seeing it, but every time I do, I just think, dang, that is rough. We're lucky that nothing like that happened to us. But yeah, this has a nice smooth roll, a little bit of a bounce, and as I'm getting going here, it does have a little bit more of that sinking squish, and it definitely doesn't feel as high as the Glycerin Max. I can compress this foam a lot more. They went all out, look at that. Yeah, for a recovery run like this, where I'm just trying to get out, move the legs, this is really pleasant. That's the word that's at the top of my mind right now. Pleasant. Now, things to monitor throughout this run though, that I also picked up on the first run, the softness. The forefoot is very soft, almost to the point where even just half a mile in, I'm wondering, am I bottoming out the shoe? Even just at my relaxed pace, or is it just a little bit more ground feel than you might expect from a max cushion shoe? Because that's possible. But I think that might be the only thing to watch out for. But yeah, very soft in the forefoot, so we'll see how that evolves. It's possible that this is just one of those shoes that will be on the line of we're not bottoming out, but we might be. Oh, and then of course grip. The roads are getting slick, so we'll see. So far, no complaints. I might have to throw in a surge or something to test it with a little bit more speed. All right, I'll see you in a few. All right, 1 mile in, hit that first mile around 8:07. I think it was exactly 8:07 pace. This is my current thinking on this shoe. Bounce here, 1080. Bounty or 1080. It's almost the same price as a 1080 actually. That one's 165, this is 170. And that's basically what this feels like, which I guess is theoretically what the Balos is supposed to be. So maybe that would be a good comparison as well. But yeah, that's what this shoe feels like, a soft daily trainer with a little bit more bounce. And grip is just okay. The forefoot grip is actually fine, but the midfoot and rear foot is slipping a little bit when I land, which is just an odd sensation. It's almost like the back end getting out on you on a turn when you're taking a turn a little bit too fast in a car, and then the wheels catching. So grip is just fine. I think better than the Nova Blast. Yeah, definitely. If I really try to stick that forefoot rubber, it catches more than something like the Nova Blast. All right, we're on mile 2 here, going uphill. More hills, more hills, more hills. It's noticeable, that little bit of slipping when I land, so this is definitely not a top-notch wet weather shoe. But other than that, I'm enjoying the ride experience so far. Soft, bouncy, comfortable, good protection. This is a solid shoe. Alright, we're halfway through the run here, mile 4. I finally figured this shoe out. It's a New Balance 1080 mixed with Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. You have the softness and the comfort of the 1080, and you have the roll, the pop, and the plate of the Speed 3. Now, it's not as fast as the Speed 3, because the foam in here isn't as lively as Saucony's Power MPV. But when I pick up the pace, I do get a decent amount of pop. Definitely not a speed training shoe, but this is not going to be a bad one if you're trying to throw some strides in or do a progression. But it does have the same downside as both of those shoes. Very soft in the forefoot. So that's really this shoe's weak point. The comfort is good, the bounce is good. I don't love the looks, so if that matters to you, that's a downside. And then the forefoot stack is just, I don't even think it's the stack, I just think it's the way that they've tuned the foam. And it might be it's probably the top foam. It compresses a lot, so while you are getting bounce, it compresses way more than I would expect it to for a shoe like this. It's almost like ZoomX in that regard. So halfway through here, I'm definitely feeling the 20, but it's so good to get out here and just, hey, look at this. We got squirrels looking for nuts. All different type of bird sounds. It's the Burbs Run Club, baby. Let's go. That was mile 6, 7:30 pace. Fastest mile yet. Still in my relaxed zone, but this is giving me baby Skyward X vibes. It is bouncy. It's bouncy and fun and really comfortable. This is a winner for me for sure. I'm glad I took it out of the box again, because this is a good one. Morning. All right, let's see what we got. I always call Monday morning the tone setter. How do we set the tone today? 1 hour, 3 minutes, 28 seconds, average 740 pace, 8.25 miles. That's a good tone setter right there. These days, anything, so it's an 8-mile recovery run, anything slower than a 735, 740-ish for me is recovery. So that was average 741. But we picked it up down to 648 on the last mile. And the first time I ran in this shoe as well, I also fast finished. So it really is that combo. And if I say this in enough different ways, enough times, it will stick. Because I remember now the first time I ran in this shoe, I said it was a combination of the Nimbus and the Magic Speed 4. So the Nimbus with this bottom soft foam, the Magic Speed 4 with the bouncier foam. The Magic Speed 4 has a race foam in the front here. This has the FF Blast Max. Again, I have no idea what kind of compound it is, but the ride is really bouncy from this and just super enjoyable and pleasant to run in. That's the headline. And today I said it was like the 1080 mixed with the Speed 3, 1080 being similar to the Nimbus, Speed 3 being similar to the Magic Speed 4. The Speed 4 would actually be a great Speed 3 replacement. Maybe that should be the next video I do. Top 5 replacements for the Endorphin Speed 3. Anyway, if I say it enough different times that this is a combination of a max cushion shoe and a speed-oriented training shoe like a Magic Speed 4 and a Speed 3, it will stick, and that's exactly what this is. The first run I did in it, I was not convinced that we needed all of the tech, and I wasn't convinced that it came together in the best way. And if you just look at the design of the shoe, there's a lot of different elements going on. You have the nice muted tan gray here, which I really like, but then you have this pops of weird, I forget who said it was pistachio. I think it might have been my guy Daryl called this this color here pistachio mixed with the black. Even the look of the shoe is a little bit visually cluttered, and it has the soft training foam with the bouncy training foam with the stiff EVA plate piece, 3/4 plate. There's a lot going on, but in the ride today, it came together really well, comfortable, pleasant with that bounce. And that's what I was feeling lacked a little bit at the end of my experience in the Balos. At the end of that 100 miles in the Balos, it felt like it was just giving out a little bit on me in the forefoot. And granted, I put that through a 25-mile day. That's how I closed my experience in the New Balance Balos. That's how I got it to 100 miles. I did a 25-mile day. So I have not done any serious high mileage run testing in this yet. We're now at 18 miles in it, but it feels 10 to 15% more bite. There's 10 to 15% more bite and more teeth in this shoe than in any of the New Balance products. 1080, more V5, or Balos. So, and I right on the line again, I was feeling like potentially, is this going to bottom out through the first few miles? But then as I got into the run, and like the Skyward X, my guy Rye said this actually, Rye Knox, he said, Skyward X, just let your legs take you. Similar thing with the FF Blast Max, and it's not as bouncy, but you just gotta let this shoe do its thing. And once I did that, and I stopped trying to hold myself back, it came alive a little bit more, and I didn't feel as much of that bottoming out thing. The one weird thing is a little bit like some of the Asics shoes, it can have this high drop feeling. So I believe on paper it's an 8mm drop. Regardless of whatever it is, it feels like a high drop. It feels like there's a big difference in the front and the back. And that's the one thing that's actually really nice. Well, there's a lot of things that are really nice about the Glycerin Max, but this does not have that high drop feeling. It's very smooth. Lower drops typically for me create a smoother ride. The rocker on here is really nice, but just comparing these two things side by side, man, the Glycerin Max is an absolute behemoth, and that's the big difference with the GlideRide Max. It's not as much of that crazy ride. It's a little bit more restrained in that you don't feel like you have as much foam underfoot. So 18 miles in, I am really liking this guy. It is just a joy to run in. I can't wait to get some more miles in it. So, yeah, think of it like that Speed 3 mixed with the Nimbus. Maybe I'll... Hold on. All right, quick little breakdown for all the shoe nerds. So GlideRide Max here. This is what I'm saying. This is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. The GlideRide Max feels a little bit like this with the geometry. So take a look at this. This is one of the ways that I like to test rockers. Look at that roll. And now look at the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 roll. Very similar. So the curve of this platform under here from the Speed 3, that's one of the really nice things about the GlideRide Max. And you can see it up at the front with this curve. And then the top foam here, FF Blast Max, with how soft it is. And it's a little bit hard to tell. No, you can see right there. Look how soft that is. And then if we look at the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, you also get a nice soft foam. So this was a really beloved shoe. The Super Blast knocked it off its perch, and the Super Blast then became that shoe nerd recommendation. But this was a great shoe. I put almost 600 miles across 2 pairs of these, and I haven't quite found the one perfect replacement. But if you want a more comfort-oriented version, that would be the GlideRide Max. And then another comparison I wanted to do here is look at this. This is the Nimbus 25. You can see in just the design and the colorways of these two shoes, really similar. They look like the exact same shoe. The uppers look the same. The curvature looks the same. Even the contouring of the foam looks the same. The color of the foam looks the same. So this is New Balance's comfort, or Asics comfort-oriented shoe. I have about 300 miles on this guy. I enjoyed it, but I felt like I was fighting against the foam at some times. Like there was just a lot of foam, a lot of squish. This cleans that up a little bit, and with the firmer stiffening piece plus that bouncy foam, just again gives it a little bit more bite. So we can think of the GlideRide Max here as if you took this shoe and smashed it, or even I would put, this is the New Balance 1080. I would put that in the same category as the Nimbus over here. Very soft, squishy, cushioned shoe with not as much pop and bounce as the GlideRide Max. And then if we're thinking about the Glycerin Max, the way that I would start to think about this shoe, and this is what I said to Charlie when she asked me what it was like to run in, it's like you take the New Balance More V5. So this is a max cushion shoe, but there's not a lot of technology in here. It's just one type of foam. There's no plate. There's no weird tuning. Yes, it looks super weird and it's tall, but there's not a lot going on with other tech. It's just a lot of foam stuffed in here with a nice rocker. So there's also a lot of foam stuffed in here with the nice rocker, but they're doing the tuning, and it's a new compound that a lot of people, well, no one's running it except for the people who've got their hands on the Glycerin Max. So the way that I would think about the foam of the Glycerin Max is if you took something like the More V5, again, a soft foam that compresses a lot, but a ton of stack, combined it with the Adidas Ultra Boost. So this is a foam that a lot of people have run in. It's denser, it's a little bit firmer, but when you hear those words energy return, you might think of something like Ultra Boost. A shoe like this might pop into your brain because this Boost foam, it's a beaded TPU. When we think of beaded TPU, when we think of what the Ultra Boost represents, it's bounce, the looks. It used to be the looks. I don't love the looks of the Adidas new shoes anymore, but the bounce, the looks, the fun. So that's what you're getting in the Glycerin Max, the comfort of something like the More V5 with the bounce of the Ultra Boost. So I hope that was fun for all the shoe nerds out there. Look at this, man. So many great shoes now and in the past. The Ultra Boost is a little bit in the past, but it's trying to make a comeback. And stay tuned for that Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 replacements video. I think we'll have to get that one out soon. But all right, have to shower. I have to get some work done, and then we can pop out for one more run in the Glycerin Max and then do the breakdown. Cheerios. All right, a little quick refuel, man. We have basically
Nah, that's disrespectful. We have food in the house, but it is not the food that I typically eat. I think we need to do some grocery shopping. So I'm eating some Cheerios, and then I might be ordering lunch. There's not a lot of food. The thing is, we had a hurricane on Friday, and then I think Charles is outside talking to the neighbor. Yeah, that's the neighbor right there in our driveway. So Cheerios. I think actually Charlie made some homemade hummus in Tempe, so I might be able to have that for lunch. But this is my quick post-run recovery. Cheerios. The real Supwell kitchen action's going down now. Look at this. That's crazy. Glycerin Max, GlideRide Max. Rebel V4. All right, so we found a good, wholesome, healthy lunch without having to order. So quinoa that Charlie meal prepped for me. Thank you, Charlie. That was very thoughtful. Teriyaki tempeh that she also meal prepped for me, and then homemade hummus. And I know everybody's asking for the Supwell kitchen cookbook. I'm trying to get it, but I don't know. See, that's the face.
When I get a full night's sleep.
She said when she gets a full night's sleep, so
Consecutively.
August 2026. Consecutively for 8 days. So.
Because it happened in, 3 years?
Yeah. All right, spring 2025. I'm doing my electrolytes here. We're going with the noon. This is a quick PSA. So I got a bunch of this stuff sent to me. Prime. This is not good. Not good. This is the worst electrolyte I have ever tasted. Yeah, that's Charlie coming in behind me, and she agrees. This stuff is not good. Not good. So, Supwell certified, not Supwell certified. This is also sweetened with sucralose. Sucralose. What did you say? I'm not hating on it. I'm PSA. It's not good.
Yeah, no,
It's not good.
sucralose is not good for you.
And Charlie's CEO of Supwell Kitchen says sucralose is not good for you. This is sweetened with stevia, which I think is slightly less bad.
Hey, Google.
It's the taste of this. Ugh. I turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah. A little late to a meeting.
Some big booty bread right there. Only slightly overapproved. It's fine.
She's gonna crawl. Alright, man, out here putting in work on the slides. But it is time for run number 2. Let's do this thing. I actually think the Glycerin Max are already outside. A nice chill run number 2. My days are just so much better when I run twice. There's all the physical benefits of doing double days where you increase your aerobic base. It helps with recovery. I was talking about this yesterday. You pump more HGH through your bloodstream by getting that second bout of exercise. There's also just the mental benefit of breaking up the day. If I structure my day so that I can run twice, that means I get more done in the morning, and I don't let the morning drag on to the afternoon. This is what I discovered last week when I took 3 to 4 days off of doubles to recover. I was finding that my morning would go until 2 p.m. because I wasn't eating so that I could be fueled. So the benefits of running, man, it's not just having a BMI in the healthy range and looking good and feeling good. It really does make us more productive and structures the day. So 6 miles in the Glycerin Max. The last thing I was going to say about the doubles is that then you could do shorter morning runs. so there's not as much of a toll on the body. So I went 8 this morning. I'm going to go 4 to 6 right now, so it'll put us at 12 to 14. If I did 12 to 14 straight in the morning, that's a little bit of a bear to recover from. And then I'll be sluggish for the rest of the day versus doing it this way. I'm going to be sharp after this run, so let's do it.
All right, 14 in the books today. Bang! 6 miles, 33 1/100ths of a mile, 46 minutes, 43 seconds, 7:23 pace. I'm thinking about calling my plug up in Vietnam and getting a bang button made. You know, like those Staples "that was easy" buttons? That was easy. That was easy. That was easy. Instead of that, you press it, bang. Promotion at work, bang. Fire dinner, bang. New shoe arrives, bang. You want to annoy your wife, bang. Yeah, that'll be fire, man. Bang button coming winter 2024. I think after Chicago, I'm going to go ham. I'm going to drop all the merch for you guys. I know you want shirts. I know you want hats. This Chicago block has just taken everything out of me. It's not I'm not going to Chicago for a business opportunity. I'm going to race this marathon with a friend. So after that is over, we'll get all the good stuff. But that was a good day of running, 14 miles. That's about a 70 to 80% cut, and I'm thinking I'm doing an 80% cut this week, 2 weeks out. Stay sharp, stay fresh. I perform my best the week after a down week. I know that sounds obvious, but 1 week after a down week is always when I bounce back. So I had a few good weeks of training. This week I'm going to do probably about 80%. And today was a great example of that. 8 miles this morning instead of the usual 10 to 12, and then 6 in the afternoon instead of the usual 8 for 14 on the day. And I ended both of those runs today faster than I started. I ended that run in the Glycerin Max at about a 6:50 pace. I think it was 6:53, and I ended the run in the GlideRide Max at a 6:48. So 2 similar runs. I did do 2 more miles in the GlideRide Max, but I now have 66 miles total on the Glycerin Max here. Let's go do this breakdown, let you know who these are best for.
Glycerin Max. 2 things before we get into it. First, of course, make sure to sign up for the Supwell app if you are not already. $1 a month and you can find awesome Max Cushion shoes. We have deals on pretty much all the max cushion shoes that you could imagine. People are selling on the Supwell app. Of course, sizing availability will vary based on who's selling stuff. We also do have, I haven't even talked about this a lot, a Running Warehouse discount code for shoes that are on sale and for apparel. You can get 20% off of all apparel with our exclusive Running Warehouse code. And then we have the forums where you can ask and answer any training questions. Shout out to my guy Santos, by the way, who just ran the Berlin Marathon sub 4. He put up a post earlier today detailing his experience in the Super Blast 2. My guy putting in work. And then the other thing I wanted to say before we get into it is the GlideRide Max. If you want to see another review on this shoe, I will link my friend Jared's channel below. Jared was one of the earliest supporters of this channel. He's a true Supwell slug. He's a true hobby jogger putting in the work. He's always running on the treadmill at the fire station before going to save some people. He's a vet. He just started his own channel. It's called Just Jared. He's a true guy who just puts in the work, man. He put in a 20-mile long run in the Glycerin. Who else you know is putting in a 20-mile long run in the Glycerin? I'm not even doing that. Just Jared, that's who. Put some respect on the Just Jared channel. He's just getting this off the ground. He's launching it. I think he launched it last month. Go show him some hobby jogger love. Go smash that subscribe button over there. He's just a good guy putting in the work. If you want someone else, an alternate perspective from someone who's actually going to put miles on shoes, he's going to be another great resource for hobby joggers out there. He's also running slightly different paces than me. He's a little bit older than I am. He's training for a 3:20 marathon. So another great resource for us hobby joggers, the Just Jared channel. Now, GlideRide Max, Glycerin Max, two different flavors of the same experience. Krispy Kreme, apple cider donut, inline turbo 4, Pentastar V6, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Wheezy F Baby, Ricky Rose.
Oh,
This is lighter weight. This is heavier weight. It's denser. It's bouncier. This shoe right here, after the 14 miles of testing we did today, this is going to be the big boy pick. I'm going to tell you that right now. It looks like the big boy pick. It feels like the big boy pick. It rides like the big boy pick. This is much more cushioned, much more protective, much more supportive. GlideRide Max is lighter weight, and they both have a nice bounce and encourage faster pace when you want to run and give some speed assistance. But the way that the GlideRide Max is doing that is with this lighter weight, bouncier foam at the top, and also this snap and roll sensation. And this is all about that thick bounce. This is the thick bounce. This is the snap and roll. This is way more navigable, way more nimble. The GlideRide Max, it also fits more snug on the top of the foot. There's not as much breathing room in the upper. It's more strapped down. It almost feels like that performance race shoe fit. This is a great upper, by the way. I did not like the Magic Speed 4 upper. Some of the Asics uppers have been giving me trouble this year. This is the best Asics upper. Also think it's a touch more breathable than the Nova Blast upper, but the fit of this is more dialed in. It's snugger. It's more nimble. It's lighter weight. This is heavier on foot. Even the material they use here is heavier. The tongue is more padded, and it feels more substantial. Now, I'm not saying one is necessarily better than the other because of that. Also, 170, 200. Oh, they're just two flavors, two ways in at the same thing. Yeast donut, cake donut, right? This is the lighter weight one that's perhaps going to be better if you're lighter on your feet, looking for a touch of a snappier ride, and it just, the toe off on here is so quick from the rocker versus this. It's not about the toe off, it's about the bounce, it's the oomph. It has more torque. It has more torque in here, and it has more low end grunt. And this is all about the horsepower. You step on it and it goes. So both of these shoes have a good range. They're both comfortable for a wide range of paces. The Glycerin Max is going to be a little bit better if you want that substantial feel. It also has better rubber coverage and just better grip in general. The Brooks grip is really good. I was slipping and sliding a little bit in the GlideRide Max earlier this morning in the rain. It's not raining over here, but it is, man, it's cloudy again, it's gray, and it also feels like it's dang near 90 degrees. Again, it's almost October, it's September 30th, so I don't know when we're gonna get a reprieve from the heat. But 2 solid shoes for comfortable, bouncy, fun, everyday miles. I really enjoy both of these. This is gonna be the pick. GlideRide Max is gonna be the pick if you want a little bit of a lighter weight, peppier shoe. Glycerin Max is if you want comfort. So thinking about the differences here, and again, these are 10 to 15% differences. If we're talking fantasy books, Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings, right? This is the one that's going to be a little bit more accessible, lighter weight, snappier, quicker roll through. This is the one that's going to be more protective and have that big boat, big yacht feel, right? This is the kayak, this is the pontoon, if we're talking recreational boats. I could do this all day, but the thing I wanted to talk about as well is I checked the specs on the GlideRide Max. Running Warehouse measured this at 46 and 40, and the specs that Brooks gave me on this guy were 45 and 39. Now, I didn't check Running Warehouse to see, but just based on those, let me tell you, I test here. There is no way that this is 40 millimeters if this is 39. I mean, just look at that. It's dang near double. So I brought out the Rebel V4 here to compare to the GlideRide Max. Now this is more similar. It almost looks like the Rebel V4 has more cushion in the forefoot than the GlideRide Max. And Running Warehouse measures this to be around 30. I'll put up the exact number. I'll put it up somewhere over here. It looks like these are similar. So this does not ride like the specs would indicate. This does not ride like a 46-40. This rides like a 40-32. It feels like 32 millimeters of stack in the forefoot because this foam compresses a lot. Again, think of that Krispy Kreme donut. Think of the Harry Potter. You can rip right through that book. You can rip right through that donut. That's not going to be the same ride experience you get out of a shoe like this. I think I got bugs on me. This is going to be much more substantial and provide a lot more protection. So you do get some ground feel in the GlideRide Max. Nissan Altima. I'm not gonna do it. This is a good shoe, but you do get more ground feel in the forefoot here, and I think this is gonna be a nice shoe for someone who doesn't like the feeling of all of that foam. So if you've tried Super Blast, Skyward X, maybe even Nimbus, this might be the max cushion shoe for you if you've tried a lot of the max cushion shoes and you don't like it. That's actually what our friend Just Jared said in his review. In the headline, he said, this was the one high stack daily trainer, a high stack training shoe that he likes. So if you are more of a traditional style of runner, if you love shoes like the Rebel V4 for your speed or for your everyday miles and you want something a little bit more comfortable, the GlideRide Max would be a good alternative to that. Again, it feels like that Rebel or that Speed 4 that's beefed up just a touch. It feels like one of these shoes that's been streamlined. So this is 100% the more streamlined pick. If I had to choose one of these for doing an all-out 10K, I would probably choose the GlideRide Max. So this is the slightly faster pick. The Glycerin Max is the slightly more comfortable pick. Glycerin Max is going to be better for bigger runners. This is going to be better for wet weather. Neither of them are going to be good for repelling bugs. And if I had to pick one of these as a do-it-all shoe, it would be hard for me. I think the GlideRide Max just takes it a little bit for the speed, at least today. And it feels just a touch more normal. It just feels a little bit more like a daily trainer because that stack is lower. And again, let's just take a look at these lined up. Very similar stacks. There's no way this is 40 millimeters in the forefoot. So that's why we actually have to run in these shoes to see how they feel. And again, compare the back. You can see it's maybe a touch taller in the GlideRide Max, but if we compare the Rebel and the Glycerin, I mean, that's not even a comparison. So Glycerin Max is a great shoe. This is the comfort pick of the year. If you want the utmost in comfort, If you want something a little bit peppier, a little bit faster, if you're maybe a lighter on your feet kind of runner, you're gonna like this. If you sometimes have issues bottoming out shoes, stay away from the GlideRide Max. After running in the Glycerin Max, this is the pick. Now, two slightly cheaper alternatives. Let's talk about that for a second. If you're thinking more of that $140 price point or $150 price point, an alternative to the Glycerin Max would be the Brooks Ghost Max 2. That's going to be the best, cheaper alternative to the Glycerin Max, or even the Brooks Ghost Max 1. And GlideRide Max, I'm trying to think, probably a Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 at $120. Again, it's not a max cushion shoe, but if you want that versatile, fun, snap, and pep. So this is a fun shoe. It really does combine the elements of speed and comfort in a really nice way. I haven't loved a lot of these hybrid training shoes this year, but Skyward X has hit for me, Mach X2 has hit for me, and now this has hit for me. It's not in the same category as those. It's a little bit more comfortable, but this is a really solid shoe. Again, only at 18 miles, so we will do some more testing in this. I'm really looking forward to getting more miles, doing some long run testing, doing some high mileage testing, but not a disappointment, not a disappointment. This is a really solid shoe. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed nerding out with some shoes, and it's raining, it's dark. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Maybach music. Oh.
One more thing, man. You know we have to come with the fresh bread. I don't even know how to cut this for our afternoon snack. Is this all they left me? Is this all they left me? Huh. I might have to throw this in the toaster for 2 seconds. Just enough to get it warm. It's nice and fluffy. Look at that texture. Look at that. You can't buy this in the store. That's that Supwell kitchen. Can't buy this in a store either. You can only buy it at the Matthews Farmers Market. Best jam ever. This is the raspberry amaretto. Very refined. Very refined. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, there's flies in here. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. That's a sweet, sweet bang.